The target profile for OB users is first and foremost that the individual requires to be fed by a caregiver. The only two other criteria that the individual must fulfill is that they have the mental cognition to operate simple switches to operate OB, as well as the ability to chew and swallow freely. Please note that there are certain conditions in things like cerebral palsy, including bite, tone, tongue thrust, and spasticity that can complicate the eating process and therefore may make the individual a not good candidate to use OB. There are four major markets that OB can serve. The first target market that OB really serves is the private home care market. And so this is for individuals who live in their home and require caregiver feeding. So that could be a spouse, it could be the parent or the child, or anyone in between. The second major market would be the acute care facilities and rehab centers that these individuals travel to receive feeding therapy and other activities of daily living. The third would be skilled nursing and long-term care facilities. So think here of your nursing homes, combined community resource centers, any other long-term facility where an individual may live in and require that assisted feeding. And the last market is hospitals themselves. Here we have the opportunity to not only feed the individuals that are staying within the hospital, but also introduce it to their occupational therapy and assistive technology programs so they could potentially house one within their facility. First and foremost, OB provides independence and dignity to the individual dining with it. The ability to control pace and selection, eating on their own time with their friends rather than relying on them, is the opportunity for the individual to freely enjoy that social experience. Now, when we think of eating, usually one would think the caloric intake and exercise of simply putting the food in their mouth, chewing and swallowing. Now with OB, really what we are doing is creating a sense of community where individuals can share their lives and their experiences with the other individuals at the table while using OB to feed themselves and not relying on somebody else to do that. Now what that provides is an increased sense of confidence and self-image, which usually results in more eating and increased nutrition, which benefits the user. And lastly, there are studies that suggest that assistive feeding creates complications like aspirated pneumonia and gastroesophageal reflux disease, and giving somebody that freedom to use OB allows for them to eat at their own pace and have their internal organs operate in a fashion that is in their control. And we believe over time we'll be able to show that OB reduces the risk of these conditions. The benefits that OB provides extend well beyond just the user utilizing OB to eat. The caregiver also experiences these benefits first and foremost by reducing the time pressure and stress they feel that is required to properly deliver that food in a timely manner. Next, it reduces the frustration that a caregiver experiences when they become the spoon of another individual. What I mean by that is no matter how you do it, there's no good way to land the spoon into someone else's face, and therefore it's a frustrating task not only for the person receiving the food, but also the one delivering it. OB now removes these tedious tasks and allows for everybody to enjoy the sense of community that is dining together and not just eating their food as quickly as we can so we can get on with our day. And lastly, it allows the caregiver to be more productive because while the individual is feeding themselves, they have an opportunity to go do other things, whether it's around the house or otherwise, and the individual can still enjoy their meal. When OB resides in a residential facility like a long-term care center or skilled nursing facility, the institution also experiences benefit from utilizing such a tool as OB. First and foremost, it creates a greater sense of community and social dining in the cafeteria for the individual using OB and those they're eating with. Also, the caregiver employees that are required to assistively feed now have improved productivity as well as reduce costs because they're able to now execute other tasks around the facility rather than be tied up for multiple hours during the feeding process. Lastly, it also improves the reputation of the facility because it shows them as forward-thinking and technologically embracing solutions to create that better sense of community and hopefully drive down things like malnutrition and dehydration. When discussing OBI with an individual, it is extremely important to highlight the design of the product, as the beautiful aspect is one of the reasons OBI is so well received. If you look at most technology in the durable medical field, most of it connotates the feeling of beggars can't be choosers. The idea that because you need the technology, you should be happy with how it looks. OBI is not conforming to that category and would rather challenge that stereotype by providing a beautiful piece of technology so individuals can feel confident and cool when using it either in their home, at their school, or out in public. Also note that there was special consideration given to how OBI functions and becomes part of your life. So things like battery operated, only 7 pounds, or fits within a typical dinner plate setting, allows for OBI to become part of someone's life without having to make special exceptions and rules to use that piece of technology. OBI is a revolutionary dining device that utilizes cutting-edge robotics to create a graceful, lifelike experience for the user and caregiver alike. Using these precise motors, we are able to create lifelike movements of a human hand, which bring even things like soup to the user's mouth without any spill. Also, these cutting-edge robotics create things like intelligent food capture, reposition, and portion control, which provide an optimal dining experience for the user from beginning to end of that meal. And lastly, instilling it with things like personality through personal gestures, whether it be the OBI bow, the confirmatory nod, or otherwise, create personality which allow the individual to assimilate OBI into their life as a companion that feeds them. Leonardo da Vinci once said that simplicity is the highest form of intelligence, and that's exactly what we went after when designing OBI. Therefore, there are only 2 buttons for the user, choose and deliver through the accessibility controls, as well as 2 buttons for the caregiver, power and teach. Once the teach mode is activated, simply use your hand to guide the arm to the delivery location, and that's it. Also note that when we designed OBI, we made sure it was battery operated and lightweight at 7 pounds, so individuals can take it places like restaurants or birthday parties. When designing a revolutionary dining companion, we knew OBI had to work as well as it looked. When doing an in-service with OBI, you will likely get many questions about our credentials. First and foremost, we are a Class 1 medical device in the eyes of the FDA, as well as a home healthcare appliance under Standard 1431 with Underwriters Laboratories in both US and Canada. Also, we have achieved our CE mark, which allows us to distribute our product throughout the European Union. And lastly, some of our accolades. We were the winner of the R&D 100 Awards, which is considered the Oscars of Innovations, as well as a finalist in the Design Excellence Awards that are internationally renowned. Thank you for tuning in to our distributor sales training video, and I wanted to personally thank you for taking the time to educate yourself about our product as well as our company. If you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to reach out to our customer experience team, and we'd be glad to help however we can. Thanks and have a great day.